in my head, I'm still thinking that, I want to do a business. This doesn't make sense to me. But everything, how come parents and your folks or your friends and everybody like you should do masters, you get a better job, etc. All of that. But job was never in my mind. I used to always think about how can I think about something which can actually make an impact. So how I look at a brand is in terms of Stay Aboard is we celebrate individuality. I don't believe that people should be staying in subprime or substandard conditions. And if you look at the millennial audience who we talk to, they either what kind of options do they have? They have an option of staying in a very, very funny or a very damaged PG, or the other option is either you share in a flat with a few friends.
What we're trying to do at Stay Aboard, right, is to really offer a more meaningful and upgraded lifestyle to the urban millennials.
There is also a layer of service, so housekeeping, security, Wi-Fi, all utilities are taken care of by us.
For a person to just bring in his clothes and settle down and in the next few days make a bunch of friends and really feel like he's lived there all his life.
I used to travel India and Europe. This is all solo backpacking. So that's when that idea started lingering in my head, and I started making small jot down points and about the whole business idea and stuff. But for the idea really to come into picture, that came in when I was working for hostels and while I was traveling by myself.
So Viral and I were previously working at a startup, and we had a very good sort of working relationship. And with Stay Aboard, also with Devashish, his sort of approach to solving problems is very different from ours.
So when we first started, we were just the three of us, right? Me, Devashish and Varun. And the idea is we were doing everything, right from finance to sales to looking after operations to thinking of how to grow this, building up the technology, right? That was an extremely, I'd say, critical moment for us, right? Because a lot of early realization on how to scale this happened then. We've been using a whole lot of space design, right? That sort of helps us design places in a way that will increase human interaction.
People who stay in and around are also like-minded people, right? So you can always go in and have a chat as compared to coming back home and just sitting down and watching a TV or getting down with your laptop. Here you can probably go have a coffee with someone.
So the idea is to really get people to talk with one another and feel like they're a part of a larger community.
So at Stay Aboard, our residents stay with us for an average of 7 months, and they spend around 12 hours with us on a daily basis at our property. So the amount of time we have to impact their lives on a daily basis, increase happiness for them, make them more productive by making sure that they're cared for.
All our properties are named after a butler, and that's just to go ahead on the concept of saying that we are the butler and you're the superhero.
On the technology front of things, we're now really focusing on using technology to drive community, right? To help people understand who else is living with them, what their interests are, and what's essentially there in common, right? Because there has to be something in common for people to build community and be a part of the same community.
The idea has evolved in terms of how we've learned from the market, what the space requires, what people require, stuff like that. But in terms of evolving the product, we're still in the process of figuring it out and stuff like that. We're still figuring out the right touch, what people need.
As we launched, we realized that a whole lot of people wanted to stay with us for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 11 months. So that's how the idea sort of came to life. To then take this from a short-term accommodation business model to a long-term accommodation, right? Which is why now our rental agreements start at 3 months and they go as high as 11 months. We work on a full inventory model, right? So we take up an entire building right from the terrace to the basement on a long-term lease, right? We do up the interiors and then convert that into a co-living space, and then we sub-rent it out to our residents, right? So the idea is that you can move in with us and take either an entire unit all by yourself, right? Or you can share the unit with another person, right? Either ways, rents typically range from anywhere between 11,000 to as high as 17,000-18,000 a person if you're taking a shared accommodation. If you're taking a unit all by yourself, it can start at 12,000-13,000 and go as high as 35,000. So we've done 2 rounds of funding so far. The first one was led by Ishan Manaktala. Ishan is COO at IHS Markit and also leads an early stage investment company called VentureVida. The second round was led by Incubate Fund. We also had Sanjay Shenoy of Legacy and Mridul Upreti, ex-JMD at JLL participate.
I think success can look very different to different people. In my mind, success is maximizing your happiness. Whatever gives you happiness, you maximize that.
When you're remembered for good, like you're remembered for doing something really worthy, how much impact has that person made?
But a couple of things I think that I wish someone told me maybe 1-2 years back is to really be able to learn how to trust people faster.
Today, if someone asks me about did I make a right decision or did I make how do you feel about the decision? I would say, I'm very happy. I think I've learned much more than I could have ever thought of learning from just another master's.
So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero.